Well, good Sunday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods this Sunday morning. I hope everybody's had a great weekend. Mine has been as busy as can be. I've been up most of the night because I've got some pork that I'm smoking here for some pork tacos to go with some shrimp and steak ones for some company coming over later. I'm going to do some work on the outdoor studio, got work to do in the workshop, and then tomorrow heading to Lancaster, Pennsylvania to pick up lime plaster for the red brick house. The work never, ever ends, but I'm fortunate to be having something to do. This morning, it's been kind of a crazy off season because in the past, we've always been dealing with drama. You know, we've had Zeke Elliott and the Booby Gate, situation. And then it was the jet skis in Florida, and there was the nightclub. There was the Vegas one with the forearm shiver and things, the Tyrone Crawfords in a bar, a situation. You've had the Terrence Williams, car crash and riding the bicycle. You've had the Amari Cooper trades, the El Pasos. We've always had so much different shit to deal with. This year, we haven't had any of that. In fact, you look at it and say the Cowboys have been a well-run machine. So it's been difficult being a Dallas Cowboy writer or YouTuber and things to have different things to talk about. And I try and go through, I do my research and stuff. I try and find good information and stuff and things that are different than what you may get elsewhere, because we all are, trying to get this news out to you and stuff. And I was going through, as I was listening to quarterback guru John Beck and stuff, talking about Dak Prescott and things, and we'll get to that clip in a minute. And I was going back through the Dallas Cowboys quarterback statistics, and something is just not right on looking at this that literally just blew my mind. It literally just blew my mind looking at the statistics, okay? Because, I'm going through comments, I get people that support the channel and say, but, we love what you're doing with the Red Brick House and, Eric Spencer. Today, my thoughts are with you, buddy. I know this is the memorial for your brother who's 36 years old that passed and things, and listening, reading the comments from family members and stuff for the video that we did and the piece that we're working on in the workshop. But there's always people that just go out of their way to talk and trash Dak Prescott. No matter what. They're just going to constantly just say, Dak, Dink Mascot, that this guy is just a straight bum. We got to get him out of here. We got to go ahead and get somebody else, like Baker Mayfield or something, just crazy off the shit wall. But I was going through the numbers here because, see, here's what's interesting, okay? If we go through the numbers here, and I know what's going to happen, because when I talk about, like, for example, that Aaron Rodgers, the last 2 years, have been going downhill. When you say that Aaron Rodgers, 3 seasons ago was 121 rating, and he was a 91 last year, you bring that up, it's like you can't say that. You can't say that he had a lower QBR than a rating than Dak Prescott. How dare you? He was always bringing up Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Yeah, well, you could compare what they're doing. Bringing that up says if he's doing worse than Dak and you say Dak sucks, then it must be a down year or he's now beginning to suck. One or the other. But going through the numbers and saying that, Dak, is a dink and dunk Dak can't, Mr. Turnover Machine and Mr., he's got more interceptions. He's just turnover prone. I'm going to ask a real question. Because I look at that and say, sometimes guys have years where they throw a lot of interceptions. They just do. Some years they don't throw very many at all. Some of them are the quarterback. Some of them on the players. Some of them's on the scheme. Some of them's on the situation. I will say, for a multitude of reasons, and I'm not going to say that Dak is completely out of the woods, but when you think of a broken thumb, when you think about receivers that had some of the worst separation in football, when you think of Kellen Moore, a guy who's still wet behind the ears, some of those things may be part of the problems. Because, of course, he's not like Troy Aikman. Because Troy Aikman, of course, he never threw interceptions, right? Troy Aikman, Hall of Famer, best there ever was. You can't look at it and say he had garbage receivers, right? You know, I mean, yeah, and he did early on, but he still had Michael Irvin his whole career. But here's the thing that's kind of crazy, because when we go through the numbers for our quarterbacks, do we think having a Michael Irvin, a Jay Novacek, an Alvin Harper, and an Emmitt Smith would be better than CeeDee Lamb, Noah Brown, Dalton Schultz, and an older Zeke Elliott? Would you be better with those guys? You know, 2 Hall of Famers throwing to and having run the football and best offensive line in football, or the Cowboys situation? Because I'm curious. I'm going to ask you a real question. If you took Troy Aikman and put him on past year's Cowboys, is he winning the Super Bowl? Is he winning the Super Bowl? Or if you took Dak Prescott and put him in the team that was with the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s, is he winning the Super Bowl? They're hypotheticals. I think there would be a better chance of Dak Prescott going back in the 90s and winning the Super Bowl than there would be of Troy Aikman winning the Super Bowl. I know what you're going to say. Well, Troy Aikman, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Of course he would have won. But here's the thing that's crazy. Now, as we go through, Tony Romo, 34,183 yards in his career. Troy Aikman, 32,942. Then you got Dak at 24,943. 2 good seasons, he's going to have the Cowboys record. Just will. Like it or not, he'll probably throw for more yards than any other quarterback ever in the Cowboys' history. And I know it's a different game now than when Troy played. Gotcha. But it wasn't a different game when Tony Romo played. Here's the thing that's kind of interesting. And this is where things start to get to be crazy, because if we go through, If we go back through, Troy Aikman having Jay Novacek, having Michael Irvin, having, Alvin Harpers and guys like that, having best running game in football, it's only a 61.5% completion percentage. Tony Romo, who, people will say Dak can't hold Tony Romo's jockstrap, was a 65.3. Dak is the Cowboys' record at quarterback. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Brandon Wheaton actually was better. Brandon Wheaton actually had a higher completion percentage, but they were all dinking and dunking. But anyway, a 66.6. Okay. But I know. But see, Dak Prescott throws interceptions. That's the problem with Dak Prescott. But here's the thing. Would you believe Troy Aikman threw more interceptions than any quarterback in the history of the Dallas Cowboys? Troy Aikman threw 141 interceptions. 141. You know how many Dak Prescott's thrown? What's funny is you don't see him here on the list because Dak Prescott is down here at 7th, at 65. Almost half of the interceptions that Troy Aikman had. And here's the thing. Troy Aikman's interception percentage was 3%. 3% of the times Troy Aikman threw the ball, he had an interception. Dak Prescott, only 2%. Tony Romo, 2.7. Does that surprise you? Does that surprise you? Because we keep hearing about Dak Prescott's interceptions. Oh, he's awful with it. Roger Staubach was a 3.7, almost twice as high. And I'm not, here we go. I know what you haters are going to, here we go, trashing the greats to try and make his quarterback look better. No, I'm trying to figure out what the problem is because, see, I want to win. I want to get a damn Super Bowl. But if we keep focusing in on, low-hanging fruit, we are never going to get to the problem with the Cowboys getting to a Super Bowl. If you're telling me that Dak Prescott is throwing for more yards per game, having a higher completion percentage, throwing less interceptions to guys who aren't as good as Troy Aikman, then that's not the problem of us not winning Super Bowls. If you're telling me that he's putting up better numbers than Troy Aikman was when we were winning 3 Super Bowls, then that ain't the problem. Then that's the thing we've got to get away from, is focusing in on the bullshit that is not the problem. It's easy to go after the easy stuff. It's the details, the hard stuff, that are the difference between winning and losing. And herein lies the problem with most people. You don't take care of the whole problem. You go the easy route. And winning a Super Bowl, it's hard. It's hard. And mind you, let me go back through here on the interceptions list. Tony Romo had 117 in his career. Roger had 109. Dak is only at 65. 65. He is the lowest interceptor in the history of the Cowboys quarterbacks. Look at it. Take a look. Interception percentage. Oh, I forgot if you go through. Okay, Marion Barber did throw a pass. But you go through, let's go through quarterbacks. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Jason Garrett was 1.7. Glenn Serrano, I don't even know who that is. Rodney Peete, 1.7. Steve Berline, Cooper Rush, and then there's Dak Prescott. If you're talking about somebody who's had more than 100 passes, Dak Prescott's right there. Dak Prescott. But the narrative is always Dak Prescott sucks. All right. Let's listen to John Beck here. John Beck, who is a quarterback guru as opposed to, us idiots on YouTube.
These tiers we rank quarterbacks, right? You have your tier one was always like, the Brady, the Rodgers, the Mahomes, and then you'd find Dak. He'd always be around level 2, tier 2, tier 3. What does Dak have to do to improve, to raise himself up to that tier 1 level and lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl? Does he have it in him, do you believe?
Absolutely. Dak is one of my favorite guys to train because he has everything in him. He pushes himself. He holds himself to such a high standard. Mentally, he's one of the best guys I've ever been around at taking any situation that could throw somebody off their game and turning it into a challenge that he accepts, he thrives in, he goes after it.
Well, he said pressure makes diamonds. I mean, he's used a lot of phrases. So I guess to put a finer...
To me, it's the team. This is a team sport at the end of the day, and I'm not saying that the Cowboys haven't lived up to what they should be.
Yes.
At the end of the day, Dak is always going to put a ton on himself.
Yeah.
He's always going to look back and say, what could I have done differently?
Well, the one thing he has to do differently is, and again, I got about 90 seconds left here, is to stop throwing interceptions. I don't know how one does something like that, because every interception has its own
the bullshit that you get.
It's not always on the quarterback. Yeah. It's sometimes on a coordinator. It's sometimes on a receiver. But how do you do that?
I mean, look, they have things that they're talking about, hey, why did this happen? What can we learn from it? Dak is not an interception-prone quarterback. This last year, there were more than there have been. But that's not because that's who he is, right? He's not this guy that's taking chances that he shouldn't. I think that he's going through a process where he's going to be able to learn, why did that happen this year? Because that hasn't been his story over the course of his career. So they're going to learn from it. I'm a big believer in like bouncing back higher. Sometimes those moments when you have a season that goes like, man, we were this close. Sometimes the lessons you learn from the this close or almost there is what propels you to get over that hump. So I don't know. I'm always excited for Dak because I know the type of guy that he is. And yeah, there were some interceptions this last year, but like I know that dude, and he's going to come back and he's grinding already. I was just at his place like a few days ago. He's grinding, and there's excitement in Dallas as there always is, and there's expectations in Dallas that there always is. But he's going to handle things the right way.
Catch the Rich Eisen show every single day on the Roku.
Here's the thing that's so fun. This is almost comical to me, okay? Because this literally blows me away, okay? Because this is one of those things that you think you can't believe because you've been sold that Dak Prescott is just, he's just got interception problems. He's the worst ever. And I'm going to say that this is actually a big, big surprise to me, too, when I go through this list. According to the football database, Aaron Rodgers is the best at interception percentage at 1.37. Incredible. Surprisingly, Jacoby Brissett is second at 1.46. Pat Mahomes is 1.64. Tyrod Taylor, 1.68. Tom Brady is 6 at 1.76. Colin Kaepernick, 1.77. Justin Herbert, I thought he actually was worse than this, but 1.78. Russell Wilson, 1.88. Surprisingly, I just found this out myself. Daniel Jones is at 1.95, but he does have the fumble problem. That's the other issue because he used to fumble a lot. And then you have Dak Prescott at a 1.98. 10th all time at interception percentage. 10th. But all we hear is Dak Prescott's got an interception problem. Dak Prescott, he's a turnover machine. Dak Prescott. And that's not the case. He had 1 year with some turnovers. You go down here and look at Josh Allen at 2.34. Matthew Stafford at 2.37. Jimmy Garoppolo at 2.43. Ben Roethlisberger at 2.5. Andrew Luck at 2.52. You can go down the line. Joe Montana, 2.58. So interceptions, you don't want to make them. But Dak Prescott is far and away from being this turnover machine narrative that we have gotten. All right, good people. Time for me to go get in the workshop, do some work in there, get working on the outdoor studio, and then working on doing some cooking. Don't forget, 5 o'clock Eastern, we have our Zoom call live stream. If you are a channel member, the link will be in the description for you to join us, and I hope you do, because now we got to really start focusing on the draft. I am a week and a half away from getting the crew together. Game time, prime time, DMV, David Wiley. We're headed to Kansas City. We'll run into Randy Sites and crew. As always, I appreciate you.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.